Managing a small team or business comes with a unique set of challenges. With limited resources and manpower, it's easy for things to feel chaotic and out of your control. How can you, as a leader, accomplish your goals while keeping your team engaged, effective, and accountable? This podcast will give you practical strategies you can implement now to lead your team or business to reach its fullest potential. Welcome to the Organizing Chaos podcast with your host, Danny Coleman.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Organizing Chaos, where we discuss small practical strategies for small teams and small businesses. Today, I want to talk about employee development. Take a brief moment here to give a shout out to the people who I really learned a lot about employee development from, and that's from my previous bosses, Frank and Brian. Brian's been on the show before. I'm definitely going to have Frank on sometime. And they did just a great job with employee development. They created an environment where we all became better versions of ourselves. We accomplished more than we'd ever accomplished. And it was really because they cared about us. And they knew that by caring about us, not only was that just the right thing to do, but it was going to come back for them, and which it did. We had a great business together for a long time, and then we all got to graduate onto the next version of what we wanted to do even more. So what they did for our team was phenomenal, and what they did for me personally was a big deal as well. So shout out to those guys, and that's really where I'm drawing a lot of this from. It's from my experience of having seen this in action and being able to compare that with other businesses that I've worked for, where it maybe wasn't happening or it wasn't happening quite like it should be. Employee development can be difficult because it takes you really have to get to know your employees maybe a little bit more than you want to. But I'm going to talk about a few things about why this is going to pay off big dividends in the end. So if I have to go over some of the benefits of it, I'll start off with saying selfishly, it will improve your business in terms of creating higher quality employees, people who care more about the business, they care more about the success of the business, and the quality of work that they do. So that's the selfish reason right there. But the non-selfish reasons, I think you should, if you are an employer, you should look at yourself as somewhat like a school. You are, especially if you're employing a lot of youth, or maybe people who haven't got their college education, or even their high school education, for instance, your time at your business could be viewed as if they went to a school where they can be learning and developing themselves as people, and not just simply kind of checking in, checking out for a paycheck. So I think that that's a really good reason to care about this as well, because this is an opportunity for you to really impact people's lives in a deep and meaningful way. And if you ever look around the world and you don't like what you see, it starts with helping other people. You can be distracting, all the problems that there are in the world, but the place where you should always start is first with yourself, and then the people immediately around you. And if you're a small business owner or a small team manager, then these are the people who are immediately around you. And if it's a full-time job for you, which I imagine it is, you're going to be in proximity to these people as much, if not maybe more than your own family. So taking the opportunity as a leader to influence these people's lives for the better, I think is a moral imperative. And again, that's my opinion. But I think that by caring about the people who are under you, you can create a better version of the world. And this is really just the most direct way that you can even have an impact on it. Because what you're doing for these people, it's going to empower them to grow as people. They're going to make the money that they need to provide for their families. They're going to, if they're engaged and happy where they're working for you, they're going to be more engaged in their community after hours. They're going to be able to have more energy and time for their kids and their families and stuff like that. So I really just think that it's probably the best place to start if you really want to try to make an impact on the world. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox on that and talk about some of the practical stuff that you can do to develop your employee workforce. So to start out, you want to have regular meetings. A lot of businesses, they don't have regular meetings at all. They kind of have crisis meetings. They have a meeting when there's some type of an issue. And then if there are regular meetings, they may not be one-on-one meetings. So there's different types of meetings that your business should be having. I'm going to do a later episode about that. But one specific one that you should be having is one-on-one development meetings. And I will have a whole episode just on how to do one-on-one development meetings. But the gist of it this is when, as you may guess, you're spending one-on-one time with this employee rather than the team meetings that you might have or the occasional committee meetings or something. This is one-on-one time between you and the person that you're managing. And this is where you get to check in with them, see how they're doing, ask for feedback. But really importantly, during these employee development meetings, you're going to be asking them about their goals and what are they trying to accomplish and how they're making progress towards those. And what you should be doing as the manager, as the employer, is figuring out how to identify their goals, what they're trying to do with their life, and line those up with what with the business goals. So this is an opportunity for small businesses to really get creative, to engage employees. Excuse me, sorry, I've got some throat issues this morning. Sorry, I lost train of thought. All right, picking up. The opportunity that you have here to match your goals with theirs, that's the only way you're really going to get 100% out of them. You have to help them see where their goals and your goals meet. And during the employee one-on-one development meetings, this is a time for you to do that. Oftentimes people aren't going to maybe you want to try to just knock it all out in one punch with the team meeting, right? Because you're afraid of spending too much money on a team meeting, and I get that. But if you take a half hour with each of your employees, you're able to do that on a frequent basis, maybe like every other week, every week, once a month at least. It gives you an opportunity to really have that meaningful check-in. They're going to say the things that maybe they were afraid to say in front of maybe the whole group. And you're going to get that honesty and transparency. You're going to build that trust and whatnot. So having that regular meeting, again, and also too, when you can find out about their goals and match those up with the company goals, it's just a really impactful and powerful meeting that, again, just kind of cultivates that relationships and helps develop your employee. And again, I will do an in-depth episode on that later because I think it's a really powerful meeting to be having. So secondly, like I said, in that meeting, you're going to be identifying their goals. And so, for instance, and like I said earlier, this is an opportunity for you to get creative. So, for instance, we had opportunities where we worked to purchase property through the company. So the company that's what we did. We acquired property to develop. And so obviously when we transferred that to somebody else or we sold our position on the contract or something like that or we flipped it and then sold that again, we obviously always put profit in there for the business to be successful. So, but what the Brian and Frank would do, they'd give us the opportunity to purchase property at like the minimum amount of like profit they need to make just to kind of break even. So, them doing that allowed those of us who were trying to acquire either rental property, if we were trying to build a rental portfolio, or our first homes, it gave us an opportunity to find houses at really good deals. And so again, that's a very specific example, but that's where you need to get creative about what it is that your business can offer to align the goals of what you have, or your goals, the business goals, with the goals of your employee. So during those employee one-on-one or development meetings, that's your opportunity to get in there and try to figure out like, okay, there's something that we can figure out that will be able to do this. So spend that time in those meetings to, again, identify their goals and match them up with yours. And then lastly, always be improving your culture. So never rest on your laurels, if you will, when it comes to culture. And your culture is the soul of your business, is what I say. It's the harder thing to address. It's more ambiguous, but you get better at it, the better your relationships are with your employees. And the more that you can kind of create this space where everyone feels like they're all on the same team. There's not drama. We're all rooting for each other. We're all trying to accomplish the same stuff. And we all want to see each other succeed, both in business and personal life. And so culture, that's what culture is. Culture is what is it that's interesting about your business? Why would somebody come want to work for your business? If you are only able to hire people at a low dollar per hour range, like we talked about before, you can find those quality people, but if you want to keep them, you need to have an awesome culture. And I keep referencing other episodes. I got a long list. Culture really is small businesses' competitive advantage because a big business, big corporations, they'll say, here's our core values and integrity and blah, 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 and whatever it is. And as maybe as serious as they were when they came up with those, and all the people who came up with the core values, whoever was on that committee in the corporation or the executives or whatever, they might have put a lot of time and effort into that and really felt really good about it when they rolled it out. But the thing is when your organization is so large as a national or global organization is going to be, it doesn't matter. Like you can't, make it matter to that many people. And that's just the way the humans are. So when you're a small business, you have an advantage of being able to make sure that your message is still heard loud and clear, and that they do resonate with those core values and the things that you establish as standards for your business. You can make sure that those all still resonate because the group is so small. So when you think to yourself like you can't afford good talent, or you can't afford to keep good talent or whatever, like that's baloney. It's hippy dippy baloney. One of my favorite quotes from the Lego movie. It really is, because really, if you take the time to have a good culture, then it won't matter that you can't afford $20 and up people, or you can get good quality people to stick with you and give you their all if you have great culture. So those are the three things that I admonish you to do to develop your employees. Is going to be to have those regular meetings, those one-on-one meetings where you're getting FaceTime with them, and you guys are building trust and openness and honesty and transparency, and then you're finding out what their goals are. Number two, finding out what their goals are, figuring out how can your business align your goals with their goals, and then get creative, because you're a small business, you're flexible, you can do cool stuff, leverage that. And then lastly, always be maintaining your culture, or improving your culture rather, because even if you think you have good culture, if you can't identify the active things that you're doing in order to be improving it, it's going to stagnate and it's not going to continue to grow. So you've got to be making sure that you're actively thinking about ways to improve your team culture. So anyways, guys, hope that was relevant and they help you in some way or another. As always, please feel free to shoot me an email, danny@dannycoleman.me, if you'd like further help, or you have any questions about this, or you have any topic ideas. If you're watching this on YouTube, please comment in the comment section below. Just with, is this something that you have a problem with? What do you identify as the biggest issues? Why you don't feel like you can, develop your employees, or what do you feel is an obstacle keeping you from doing that? I would love to hear that in the comment section below. If you have any other kind of comments, obviously just put them down there in that section for comments. If you liked this, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out with listening on Facebook or YouTube. Actually, and I say comment on section on YouTube all the time. This is also on Facebook, I know that. So comment in the comments area on Facebook as well if I need to remind you to do that. And I don't think I do. And then be sure to please subscribe, either whether it's on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher. Leave me a review. You can also get me on Spotify too. I always keep forgetting that. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you all tuning in, and I hope that you have an excellent rest of your day. See ya.
Want more? Go to dannycoleman.me to download Danny's free small business hiring guide, which includes tips, templates, and tools, plus a step-by-step process you can use to find and keep high-quality employees for your small team or business.